It's time for Losses Above Replacement, the best baseball podcast to grace your ears, with your hosts, Alex.
Gosh, I have so many questions. Also, where's my car?
Splash.
Strive to love something as much as my grandmother loves buying new crock pots.
And Mac.
If you've ever been to Boston, you know that they have amazing ice cream.
Coming to you from coast to coast, it's L.A.R.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Losses Above Replacement, the greatest baseball podcast to grace your ears. I'm today's host, Matthias Altman Kurosaki, and with me, as always, we have my amazing co-hosts, our Player of the Month nominees, Alex Clark and Ryan Splash Potts. Gentlemen, I am back from Texas. You guys were on your own last week. I hope you guys didn't have too much fun. But how are we doing on this fine Thursday evening?
We're still recovering from the two-man podcast. No, I mean, we're doing all right over here. I'm still kind of bummed because I injured my knee a little bit ago. And so I am, still recovering through that. And it sucks because we have beautiful weather, 76 degrees and sunny here, which is absolutely perfect. And yet I can't do anything.
You know, I thought last week was a good episode. It was it's similar to the Effectively Wild. How can you not be horny about baseball? The vibes were off the charts last week. I'll just say that.
The vibes were fantastic, which was it was a lot of fun.
Yes, it was.
We even got to do some MLB Power Pros there at the end. It was a good time.
Yeah, it was a fun time.
Well, it sounds like you guys had a swell time then. To your point, Alex, it is quite nice in New York right now, but it is supposed to rain all weekend. Like I said, I was in San Antonio last week at a swim meet at Masters Nationals. That was a lot of fun. It was pretty hot there. It's Texas. What do you expect? And despite the sun only coming out on one day, I managed to get pretty sunburned. If you're watching on YouTube and I kind of look like a tomato, kids, adults, everyone, wear sunscreen. Just do it.
Right now, I gotta tell you, Mac, you look about as red as the Braves logo, so I would be very careful.
That's not good.
If I were you.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that, but I ate some really good barbecue while I was in Texas. I'll tell you that much. And among other things, we went to a spot called Chicken and Pickle, which, if you wouldn't believe it, is a bar and restaurant where you could also play pickleball. If I wasn't there,
awesome.
If I wasn't there for a competition, I would have 100% tried my hand at pickleball, but I had to save my energy. So
that's fair.
I told you guys about my Bucky's pickleball set, correct?
Yes, I think you did. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dad. Great birthday present. I don't know if it's ever going to come in the mail, but thank you.
Again, that's one of the things that sucks about being at my job again is because I have much less time for pickleball. Also, another thing that sucks about being injured is no pickleball.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Truly.
I will one day try pickleball. And if I'm ever back at Chicken and Pickle, I will try to get my way into the pickleball courts. It seems like you have to reserve them in advance.
Not always.
Yeah, well, it's
at that place.
At that place. There's also a whole game room with pool tables and stuff. So I'm sure if I wasn't exhausted from being on the pool deck in the blazing hot Texas weather, then I probably would have given that all a shot. But while I was away,
there are multiple Chicken and Pickle places.
Yeah, that makes sense. It seems like
there's one in let's see. So there's one opening in Allen, Texas, and there's one in Glendale, Arizona, Texas, Nevada, Missouri, Oklahoma City, Kansas,
so desert area,
Texas, Missouri, Colorado, Texas, Kansas,
Colorado. Okay.
Then there's opening.
Wait, this one in Colorado? I think I actually saw it then when I was working for the Collegians.
There's one.
I don't think I ever went there, but
Colorado.
Oh no, I don't know.
Where
I saw
Colorado?
one that was
Thornton, Colorado.
Yeah, I don't know where that is.
And yeah, that's the one in Colorado right now. And then there's soon to be ones in Fishers, Indiana, Omaha, Nebraska, and Parker, Colorado.
Yeah, so if you guys are ever in any of those areas and you want to eat food and play pickleball, head to Chicken and Pickle. This is not a paid advertisement.
Hey, one day,
if you
maybe.
want to pay us,
yeah.
One day.
I know that the only reason we knew about this place was because there was some meet and greet they were advertising at the swim meet. So Yeah, that's what was going on in my world. There was obviously some baseball being played while I was away, and we have reached the end of April. It is May 1st today. It is May, yes.
It's gonna be May.
So what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of an award update. Obviously, we made our awards predictions back before the season in March. Now we're going to go through our current leaders in each race with the MVP, the Cy Young, and Rookie of the Year races. So let's go ahead and start with the MVP race. And
one thing I would like to clarify real quick,
yes.
though, like this isn't like we're changing our predictions from who's going to win it. This is like if the season ended today, who would we give these awards to?
Exactly.
With a little bit of opinion still thrown in there. So
yeah, so let's start in the American League, and I think there's a clear front runner here.
Oh yeah, obviously.
And I'm honestly wondering if either of you have a different person here. So whoever here, Splash, I saw you put your hand up. Who's your front runner in the American League right now?
It's Dylan Moore, right?
It's clearly Jock Peterson.
I thought it was the
188 batting, or the 108 batting average.
108, wow, okay, getting it
slug,
up.
12
I mean, to be
OPS
fair,
plus.
finally, that means that someone has a lower batting average than Donovan Solano.
Yeah, tough scenes. But obviously the answer is Aaron Judge. He's been the best hitter in baseball by several country miles. And it's not even that he's the best hitter in baseball. We are having conversations. Is Aaron Judge the greatest right-handed hitter of all time? Is Aaron Judge simply the greatest hitter of all time? He has 3.2 Fangraphs WAR in 31 games.
That's insane.
That is on pace for over 16 WAR in one season. I want you to think about Ryan Howard for a moment. Phillies legend, MVP, World Series champ. Mm-hmm. He had 14 career Baseball Reference WAR. I don't know how much he had on Fangraphs. Aaron Judge is on pace to do all of that and a little bit extra in one season. He has a 501 expected WOBA, a 539 WOBA, a 262 WRC+. It is truly absurd. We are witnessing arguably the greatest stretch ever by a player. Not by a Yankee, not by a righty, not by someone wearing 99, not by someone who's 6'7", just any. There's no qualifiers. This could be the greatest stretch we're ever going to witness.
It's really hard to kind of put it into words at this point because really all you need is the numbers on this. And when you have a player that through the first month of the season has a WAR that is above 2, not just above 1, above 2 as a one singular player, that is nuts. Right? He has been playing at an unrealistic clip, and to kind of go piggybacking off of what Splash was saying right now, this may be the best stretch that we have ever seen. I don't know if it's the best we will ever see, just because baseball's continuously evolving. But right now, Aaron Judge let me put it this way here, right? When he won the MVP away from Ohtani, right? When Ohtani was still pitching and all that, that was the hurdle for me. That was the hurdle about whether or not this guy could be the greatest because he essentially beat out two players in one in Ohtani. He beat out two stars and their combined ability by his own ability. The way that he plays baseball is just insane to watch. Like, I understand that as a fielder, he's average to above average, maybe. Although I will say I think they're still waiting for the New Year's ball to drop. But, I mean, that's a different story altogether. But he has a rocket of an arm. He's still very aware of the outfield. He's tall enough to basically rob most home runs over the fence with a little bit of room to spare. But he still hits the ball a ton, and he's cut back on the strikeouts. Like, that's the thing. Like, he definitely does strike out a lot. I'm not going to say he doesn't. But for the power that he is giving you right now, like, for an example, right? Let's take someone who also has a ton of power. Here, I'm going to go with a guy like Kyle Schwarber. Schwarber's the guy that has a ton of power, but it only matters when he hits the ball. Aaron Judge hits the ball more consistently with the same, if not even more power. That's the kind of hitter that we're dealing with right now. And if he could, I hate using the on pace bit because there's no way that any pace like that is sustainable for any long period of time here. But the fact that that's even a measure that we can talk about this far into the season, that's impressive. That is mightily impressive.
Yeah, I mean, let's just put it this way with Aaron Judge right now. He leads the majors in batting average. He's tied for the lead in home runs. He's tied for the lead in RBIs. He leads in on-base percentage. He leads in slugging percentage. He leads in OPS. He leads in hits. I mean, what more do we have to say? He currently has a 262 WRC plus. Obviously, I'm not saying he's going to finish the year with that. He's not going to hit 427 this season, but I can't really describe just the level of play we're seeing right now. And I'm going to shout out one of our old friends, Ryan Garcia, right here. His tweet earlier today that over his last 162 games, Aaron Judge is batting 369, 494, 774. That is a 249 WRC plus, 64 home runs, 163 RBIs, and 14.3 Fangraphs WAR.
There's something that we say called video game numbers.
Literally, this is video game numbers.
Yeah. The only video game, though, that's not video game numbers is MLB Power Pros 2008, where you can hit over 100 home runs in a season. I've done it multiple times.
And you can't draw walks.
Yes,
you can't draw walks.
Not draw walks. Yeah, no. Your on-base percentage is the exact same as your batting average, basically, feels like.
Yeah.
Okay, fellas, I just want to point this out. Aaron Judge has a 506 BABIP. Obviously, that's not sustainable.
Yeah, no.
But a 506 BABIP. He has 140 plate appearances. The only players with a higher BABIP are players Ryan Nelson, who has 1 plate appearance, Richie Palacios, who has 4 plate appearances, Trey Lipscomb, who has 3 at-bats, then Austin Wynns, Johnny DeLuca, Tyler Heineman, who have, a week's worth of plate appearances. Aaron Judge has a month, and he still has a 506 BABIP. And yes, his BABIP is going to run a little bit higher because he hits so many line drives and hits the ball ridiculously hard, and he doesn't hit ground balls, which will kill your BABIP. And when he does hit a fly ball, it'll go out of the yard. But a 506 BABIP over any sort of stretch is just hilarious to me.
Yeah, I'll also put this out with the wins above replacement. On Fangraphs, he's at 3.2. That is over 1 WAR higher than the next highest total, which is 2.1. So, yeah, Aaron Judge is just a freak. I mean, I don't know what else to say. To cap what Ryan was saying, he is so the 249 WRC plus over his 162 game stretch. Barry Bonds' highest WRC plus in a season was 244. And his highest F4 was 12.7. So, this is not just in the post-Bonds era. This is across all time. We are witnessing maybe the greatest hitter ever. And you'll rarely hear me talk about a Yankee like this, or anyone in my household talk about a Yankee like this. But I feel like every time I see an Aaron Judge highlight on my feed, I have to watch it because it's something crazy. It's him hitting the ball, a mile, or he's throwing the ball, 100 miles per hour from right field. But yeah, so Aaron Judge is our clear-cut favorite in the American League. I do want to quickly shout out someone from Alex's team, Jorge Polanco. Has been fantastic this year.
You have no idea how hard it was for me to not say Jorge Polanco.
Yeah, it's
MVP.
Crazy because he's only played in 22 games with 1.3 F4 is still pretty strong. His WRC plus is 253. It's basically just batting left-handed. So yeah, I do want to point it out. He's been great.
DH too until he gets his knee starts feeling a little bit better again.
Yeah, so I do want to shout him out. Obviously, Judge is still the favorite, but that is one guy who I think maybe deserves a little consideration.
Trust me, he'll be getting some consideration when we get to the moment to ourselves.
Yeah,
but anyways, he's also had multiple, already at this point of the year, has already had multiple multi-homer games.
Oh, yeah.
When this guy had trouble getting even 1 or 2 out last year, the change is staggering.
Yeah, so let's slide over to the National League. And Alex, I'll go to you first here.
Okay.
This is a more tightly bunched race. A lot of guys in the 2 F4 range. Who do you have as your front runner in the NL?
So this one was tough. I'll be honest here. So it was between two names, and I'll just give you them both right now. It was between Corbin Carroll and Fernando Tatis Jr. Those were the two, and what honestly sold it for me was just looking at the batting average for Tatis. Here, I had to go with him. Looking at what he has done over the course of this season so far, it has been fun to watch. It's weird to say that when it comes to Tatis because I still have my problems with him, mostly character-wise. But at the same time, like watching him play, he has been producing at an unreal clip. But I gotta give my credit to Corbin Carroll as well. He has been on an absolute warpath over the start of this season. There's a reason why it's really close between the two of them, but I had to give the slight edge out to Tatis.
Yeah. I think that's a totally fair top two. I do want to shout out Pete Crow Armstrong and Pete Alonso. The Petes have been mashing. Young Hoo Lee, a shout out to the hooligans out in San Francisco. Geraldo Perdomo has been balling out for Arizona. Homered off Spencer Schwellenbach the other day. Francisco Lindor
today too.
Is off to a good start for the first time in his career, it seems. But I am also going to go with Fernando Tatis. He is doing the 2023 Ronald Acuna. The strikeout rate is 15%. He's walking 10% of the time. Power, speed. He's on pace for, give or take, 40 home runs and 35 steals. Again, give or take, 180 WRC plus, that'll play. Plus defense, that'll play. Plus base running. 180 OPS or 180 WRC plus. Not quite as good as Pete Alonso, but it's a little bit better than Corbin Carroll. He is a better defender than Corbin Carroll. The base running, he's still a plus base runner, even if he's not Corbin Carroll level. Just a tremendous hitter. And, you know, sometimes you have these goofy years that you just don't strike out as much. You walk a little bit more often. And, you know, Tatis hits the ball with authority. A 356 BABIP. So I don't actually think that's like out of line. Maybe for a career that's out of line, but I think Tatis could have a 340, 350 BABIP with a bunch of homers, a bunch of steals. And if you want your 2025 version of 2023 Ronald, here you go. It's right here.
Yeah. So I'll say that for me, it was between Tatis and Alonso. Alonso is on a warpath right now. I think A, having Juan Soto batting in front of him, and B, not having the weight of it being a contract year, really. Granted, he does have an opt-out after this season, but it's one of those things where like he knows he will have a deal no matter what next year. He's been excellent. He's already almost matched his F4 output from last year, which was only 2.1, but he's at 2.0 already, and he's at a 211 WRC plus. This is the most locked in I've ever seen him. I just want to say that. And he's truly been amazing. I have to go with Tatis, though. I think he really, even if his bat isn't quite what Alonso is right now, he's still hitting 345 with a 180 WRC plus, and he's lightning fast and plays a pretty good right field. It's not as good as it was a couple years ago, but I mean, there isn't much to complain about right here. So I think it's Tatis narrowly ahead of Alonso, who's narrowly ahead of Carroll. And yes, I think Lindor definitely warrants consideration. I think Crow Armstrong, he's making my war draft pick look pretty good right now. So I'll say that much. Shout out to Corbin Carroll, by the way, for bouncing back from that awful first half last year. He's really adjusted nicely, I think. So those are that's our NL MVP picture right now. We all have Tatis. So we actually, we universally agreed on both players. That's a first, I feel like.
We may have to change something up here because we can't let this agreeing go on too much longer.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll have some disagreements on the Cy Young front. Mm-hmm. Let's go over there, and I'll lead it off here in the American League. There are a number of low ERAs in the American League, but the one I think is most sustainable, I'm going with Hunter Brown from the Houston Astros. I mean, he had that awful April last year. He had that outing where he didn't get out of the first inning against the Royals, and since then he's been one of the best pitchers in baseball. This year, 1.22 ERA, a 1.84 FIP, a 2.56 xFIP. So those are all numbers compared to his peers that are his competitors. I think those are the most sustainable. His strikeout rate is solid. It's actually higher than it was last year. He's averaging just over 6 innings per start, which is really good. His F4 is already 1.5. So I think it's early for sure, but considering the way he finished last year, I think we're seeing a breakout season from Hunter Brown. And I mean, maybe this is a guy who could contend for the award at the end of the year.
I wonder which one of us picked him to actually win the Cy Young heading into the season. I wonder.
I don't know, actually.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. So someone kind of weird.
Ironically enough, I'm not going to choose Hunter Brown for this exercise. I'm choosing Max Fried, and I think part of that is the Yankees entering the season didn't have Garrett Cole. Right, he's going to miss the entire season. The Yankees have dealt with a slew of pitching injuries. They are having to give Marcus Stroman at least when he was healthy.
Well, I was going to say he's injured now.
Yeah, they were giving Marcus Stroman like real innings. They were giving Carlos Carrasco real innings. And Max Fried said, all right, I got it. I'm going to just be the best pitcher in the American League. Why not? A 1.19 ERA right now, a sub-3 FIP. He's at 0.9 Fangraphs WAR, 5-0 if you care about record. The strikeouts a little lower than they tend to be, but he keeps the ball in the ballpark, which is impressive at Yankee Stadium. 0.5 home runs per 9. Doesn't walk anyone. He suppresses BABIP. He gets a lot of ground balls, a lot of weak contact, and he's just a gamer. He's an excellent pitcher. He can fire up the fastball up to 97, 98, get that FU mentality, and he's been a key reason why the Yankees have stayed afloat with their pitching staff in a bit of a disarray. He's every fifth day he goes out and delivers a quality start for the Yanks.
Yeah, and I think that Fried has been good this year. I mean, I think right now he's probably my runner-up. So I completely get that. I think I want to see his strikeouts come up a little bit. I'll tell you that much. Because his Baseball Savant page isn't mind-boggling. But yeah, on the surface, though, he's definitely been a breath of fresh air for that battered rotation in the Bronx.
Mm-hmm. All right. I'm going into mine. We need to have some disagreements here. So I'm creating disagreement here. Andres Munoz is the Cy Young.
I knew this was coming.
Let's go. Look at this, right? Watching him come out from the bullpen right now, we are seeing the next great closer in baseball. I remember I said at the beginning of the month, right, that there's no way he's going to keep this no-run streak going all the way through April. Well, let's take a look here at the end of April. What's his ERA? Let's see. Wait, what is it? Oh, yeah, 0. Not 0 point something, not 3.0, 0.00. He has been almost the definition of perfect. The only issue he's had is a couple of walks, which, okay, cool. Leads the MLB in saves. He has been nothing short of dominant here, that this has been one of the best closer starts I have ever seen. Let it alone from going from Mariano Rivera or other people like that. This has been an incredible start. Am I saying it is sustainable? Absolutely not. No. But when you take a look at some of the other closers that are going out right now, right? Some of the ones that pop out are Robert Suarez. Some of them could be,
Mason Miller.
Just lost his. Say again?
Mason Miller?
Mason Miller, yeah, is another one. I was actually thinking of Josh Hader is what I was trying to say there a second ago. Here, that are having good seasons, that are good. How many of them are perfect? How many of them are still at the 11 for 11 on save opportunities?
I can actually answer this question, Alex. There are 7 pitchers who have thrown at least 10 innings who have not allowed an earned run.
Okay, would you like to read off the list, please?
Shelby Miller, Jimmy Garcia, Danny Coulombe, Reed Garrett, Luke Weaver, Andres Munoz, Justin Sterner.
Reed Garrett gave up a homer today, so
okay. This was entering May 1st.
And how many of them also have 10 plus saves?
The rest of the group combined has 4 saves.
This right now, Munoz. One thing that was kind of interesting, we have seen over the last number of years, the advent of using closers for more than 3 outs. Right, we've seen them coming from 4 out saves, 5 out saves, even 6 out saves. Munoz is being put directly in the 9th inning is yours. Go have fun. And you know what he's doing? Having fun, and he is dominating. It has been so much fun to watch Munoz pitch. He hasn't even been putting in the kick change that much. He's done it a few times, yes, but the fact that he still has that devastating pitch in his arsenal and is still just mainly needing that sinker fastball slider and is still fooling and making hitters look stupid, he has been unreal this year, and it's going to be insane come October when we hear about a reliever winning the Cy Young.
Look, I'll say this much, that if there were a reliever leading the race right now, it would be Andres Munoz. And I'm looking at his...
There is a reliever leading the race, and his name does happen to be Andres Munoz.
Yeah, all right. But I'm looking at his Baseball Savant page right now, though, and his slider run value is already +6. It was +9 all of last year. It was +2 the year before that. Granted, it was +23 in 2022. So here is what I'm looking at, though. He has a 60% whiff rate on it. And this is while having that, high 90s, sometimes triple digits fastball. And yeah, he's only thrown the changeup 3 times. Well, he hasn't really needed it. I mean, I'm sure he'll mix it in occasionally against like a left-handed hitter.
It's fun to watch because we go back to last year, right, where Munoz was good at the start of the year, had a stretch where he just fell apart for a while, made one adjustment, and then was great again. Watch what happens, or something like that happens again this year, where he does amazing for a while, has a little time where he's like, maybe I need to start reintroducing stuff into this, and then refines that complete greatness through the rest of the year. This will be the best closer in baseball. Not even close. Sorry, Marcelo Iglesias. Sorry.
Okay, whoa. Okay, that was uncalled for.
Sorry, Mason Miller.
Okay. So I have a stat, and it's actually going to be a perfect segue into our National League side. So to me, Munoz is the platonic ideal, what you want in a pitcher. Lots of strikeouts, and when you don't get the strikeout, it's on the ground. So Munoz, 11.4 Ks per 9, a 71% ground ball rate. Out of every 7 balls hit into play, 5 of them are on the ground, and it's hard enough hitting him with the 11.4 K per 9. Now, the only other pitcher who strikes out at least 10 batters per 9 and has a 60% ground ball rate is my National League Cy Young pick as of right now. It's Yoshinobu Yamamoto, 11.4 K per 9 and a 63% ground ball rate. He's just been electric for the Dodgers. He's worked to a 106 ERA, a 2.28 FIP, 1.2 F4. So not quite the top. That's Paul Skeens, but Skeens is a bit of a FIP merchant, if one may call him that. Yamamoto doesn't walk a lot of batters. It's under 3 per 9. Doesn't allow too much in the way of home runs. His BABIP isn't crazy low. It's a 276, which is a little on the low side, but say Logan Gilbert, 238, Freed, 255, Pivetta, 226, Eovaldi, 252. There are lower options here. But Yamamoto has refined his repertoire. It's a big repertoire. He throws hard, but not absurdly hard. It's not a Skeens. It's not a Jesus Luzardo, who's been excellent for Philadelphia this season. But I like what Yamamoto brings. To me, in a lot of ways, he's like a right-handed version of Max Fried, with more strikeouts, of course, and throws a smidge harder. But he's been awesome. And I'm sure you guys have your other picks, but I wanted to say something positive about Yamamoto because I was against the Dodgers having, a Cy Young candidate. I didn't think they were going to have the innings. So credit where it's due. Yamamoto has, to me, been the best pitcher in the National League this season.
Yeah, and I'm going to agree with you here. I have Yamamoto leading the National League race. And like I said, there's a lot of good pitching this year. But I mean, he's a 1.0 ERA right now. He looks like the ace of a pretty beat up staff in LA. Sasaki hasn't been Sasaki yet. Glasnow's injured. Kershaw's injured. Snell is injured. They just got Tony Gonsolin back. Dustin May, it's been all right. I mean, he's finally back on the mound, which is good to see. But Yamamoto has just been consistently great this year. His walk rate has gone up a little bit, but his strikeout rate has gone up, which is great. His ground ball rate is way up. So really, I mean, there isn't much to complain about him. He has a great arsenal, really. Fastball that can reach the high 90s with that wicked splitter and curveball combination. So overall, this is a good overall pitcher. Like, he's not just a thrower. And if he stays healthy, yeah, we're probably looking at a guy who can contend for a Cy Young. So, Alex, who's your National League Cy Young?
I mean, I have to go Skeens here. I think that watching what he's done so far has been absolutely awesome. Like, let's take a quick look at a couple things here. First off, Baseball Reference WAR is at 1.1, making his career currently right now at 6.9. Very, very nice. But on top of it, let's go over to F4 for a second. He has a 1.6 F4 here, and I would like you to take a guess here. Just where do you think the next pitcher is on that list? Where do you think the next pitcher is? I'll tell you where it's at. It's actually at Hunter Brown at 10. So I can understand that.
Okay.
As well. And then after Hunter Brown, you have to go a while down to find Jesus Luzardo at 18 here. But what I'm saying here is right now, this dude is not just the best pitcher right now in the National League. This dude might be the best pitcher in all of baseball. Watching how he plays, the fact that he's able to sell out the PNC Park whenever he plays, but you go then the next day and it's maybe a quarter full. Like, that shows, one, the star power that he has. But on top of it, just watching him play, the dude has an incredible repertoire. He is swing and miss on so many on all of his pitches, basically. Every one of his pitches has been an out pitch. The only thing I just need to see, again, is I want to see the stamina a little more consistently. That's it. That's the only issue I have with him. He does not walk people. He strikes out a lot of people. He throws a lot of pitches because he strikes out a lot of people. That's very, very good still. I don't have a problem with any of the other pitchers right now, right? But what he's doing is, like, we've been talking about how insanely good Aaron Judge has been, that there's not even a comparison at this point. I'm wondering if there's a chance we may start to see that in the coming years when it comes to Skeens. There's definitely a few things that need to be, refined. I'm not going to say that he's the complete package right now, because if he is the complete package right now, let's be honest, he's still going to be good, but not the best. He has an absolute chance of being the best. And it's insane watching the fact that he came into the league so scorching hot and has continued it. There has not been a bump on his resume, and we're at the highest level of professional baseball.
Yeah, and really, he had like his first like rough outing of the year, I'd say today, where he gave up 3 home runs to the Cubs. But granted, the Cubs' offense this year has been like unreal. Oh, yeah. Which is
the Cubs' offense has been like all of them are on mega steroids.
I mean, to be fair, he gave up the home runs. All right, one of them, Dansby Swanson's bat is slowly coming alive, but the other ones were to Kyle Tucker and Seiya Suzuki, currently two of the best hitters in the National League. So it's not like he gave up those home runs to a couple of minor leaguers or something. So I mean, Skeens, I think, is still my end of season pick right now. I think Yamamoto's ahead of him, but I mean, he's Paul Skeens, so even if he has a rough patch, he'll get through it. But let's slide over to our last awards, the Rookie of the Year awards. I'll say this: the American League has a very, very deep field. So let's go to Alex. Who's your American League Rookie of the Year leader right now?
Yeah, it's a very deep field overall, but I'm gonna go with the one that has been signed to a nice little extension here. This Christian Campbell. I think watching what he's done so far I'm not even going to say limited time because that's not correct either, but with the expectations that have been put on him, I think he's done a pretty darn good job overall. You take a look at so far on the season, he has played a couple different positions and has been overall succeeding on it. He's shown that he has versatility. He can do it with the bat. He could do it with the glove here. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of other rookies, but this is right now, he's looking like he's going to have that. He's going to at least be able to keep that shot going for at least another few months. And so far, he's proven that he's worth it, that he's been worth that extension.
Yeah, and I'm going to back you up here. I have Christian Campbell leading the American League too. And, I'm waiting for the Red Sox to call up the guy I had entering the season, Roman Anthony, because he's been tearing the cover off the ball in AAA. And frankly, I don't know how he's not in the bigs right now. But I look at Campbell's stats, and yes, he has a 26% strikeout rate and a 397 BABIP. I am not ignoring that at all. What I do like is the 15% walk rate and the 407 on base, the 495 slugging. That's a 156 WRC plus. And he has a 1.2 F4, which leads rookies. He definitely has some room to improve. I'd like to see the strikeouts come down. I'd like to see the defense improve. But you're looking at a really, really talented young ball player. He's only 23. So this is a guy, I mean, it's tough to label him like the Red Sox next Dustin Pedroia because, Dustin Pedroia won an MVP. He was an all-time great in Boston, I think. But, I mean, this is a guy, he's locked into a nice contract extension, and I think this is the start of something big for Christian Campbell. I'm really, really happy with his results so far.
Yeah, and I'll complete the trifecta here. I think if you're looking at like finalists, I would go with Cameron Meisner of Tampa, Jacob Wilson of the A's, and then of course Christian Campbell. Like Max said, the strikeout rate and the BABIP a little concerning. If you don't love the strikeout rate, if 26% is too rich for you, let me introduce you to one Jacob Wilson, who has a 5% strikeout rate and a 324 BABIP, and an on-base percentage that is 11 points higher than his batting average.
I was going to say
he subscribes to the MLB Power Pros method of not drawing walks.
I think we need to make
his dad was in that game, so
I think our next like MLB Power Pros like go through has to be making Jacob Wilson.
Yeah,
at this point, because
he just fits it.
He fits it.
It's just swing. It's not exactly swinging at everything. It's pretty doggone close to swinging at everything. I'll pull up his Savant page, but just the absurd bat to ball skills. And when we did our graphics before the season, I said that he had the potential to be the next A grade hit tool player. And what has he done? He's done exactly that. He doesn't whiff. He makes contact 89.5% of the time. That's 98th percentile. He strikes out in the 100th percentile. That's a good. That's the positive end. He has a 322 expected batting average. So, like, does he hit the ball as hard as other players? No. But he hits the ball at the optimal angle. He hits a gazillion line drives. And that's, the best way to get a hit. If you're just looking to hit for batting average, the best way to get a hit is to hit line drives. Jacob Wilson does that. This year he has a 25% line drive rate for his career. He's at 26%. That's above the league average. He hits the ball on the ground a little bit too much. He's over 53%. But if you don't have crazy power, there's no need to hit fly balls, right? Those are going to be outs. These are called big leaguers. They catch fly balls. But line drives, those are really hard to get. Those are really hard to catch. So do I love the 1.7% walk rate? No, but it brings me back to a simpler time.
Yeah, so I'll say this much. Jacob Wilson is definitely making a case. I watched him when the Mets were in Sacramento, and he's really, really an interesting player. He moves around a lot in the batter's box, but he makes a lot of contact, so it's kind of hard to complain about that, really. But let's move over to the National League, and I had a very, very hard time picking my National League Rookie of the Year leader because the guys who we expected to contend are not really performing right now. Dylan Cruz is slowly figuring things out, but I'm having a hard time justifying saying that he is the leader right now. I can't believe that I'm saying this because he's, all right, there are two guys I'm considering here. One has played only 8 games. One has played only 14 games and got sent to the minors inexplicably.
Yeah.
So I am going to go with the one that's in the majors right now. And he's only been in the bigs for,
his name.
He's only been in the bigs for 8 games, but he's already hit 3 home runs. I'm going with Agustin Ramirez.
Yeah.
It's just really hard for me to pick against him. Yeah. I understand. Like I said, the National League field just isn't as good this year. But Ramirez has been great. He's already hit 3 home runs. He had a couple of impressive ones against the Mariners last week.
Mm-hmm.
And really, I think this is a franchise catcher right here. I think, the Marlins have finally landed on a guy that they can count on. He could probably hit 25 to 30 home runs in the season, be at a well above average bat, make the all-star team, play decent enough defense behind the plate. And this is a guy, they got him for Jazz Chisholm last summer. And I think they might end up winning this deal because of how good I think Ramirez can be. So he's my leader. We'll reevaluate. Let's see if maybe, I don't know, Dylan Cruz has a hot month, or, Luis Angel Acuna becomes more of a regular player or more of a regular offensive contributor, but we'll see. But right now, I think Ramirez is the leader in the clubhouse. So let's go to Splash here.
Yeah, this is not every year is like last year. Skeens, Merrill, Churio, they would have all been deserving winners. Or 2022, you have Harris and Strider. And was that the Brendan Donovan year too?
I think Donovan was a contender, yes.
Yeah, so there's just some years there's really deep classes, like Adley versus Julio. That was a thing, right? This year doesn't seem to be at this point. And I will have the caveat of in 2022, Michael Harris won Rookie of the Year. He did not debut until the end of May. So there's time for someone to debut. I don't know who that someone might be. There's time for players who have not had much of a chance to have a chance, right? So for now, I don't love the pick. It should be pretty obvious. Drake Baldwin has been a perfectly fine catcher for the Braves. He's been relegated to occasional pinch hit plus backup catcher duty now. So the flame on his candidacy is waning, I will admit. But he's had better batted ball luck in recent weeks. He started on the worst luck of all time. Everything was a highlight for at the time of the Padres and the Dodgers. It's like if the ball is in the air, it's getting caught and it's going to be a web gem. So he's 0.2 Fangraphs score, which is nothing special. It is top 10 among National League position player rookies. A 105 WRC plus. He's been fine defensively. I would argue above average. I think some of the stolen bases against are pitcher issues, not Drake Baldwin issues. But there's other names. Luis Angel Acuna has been good in a larger sample size, 79 plate appearances. Griffin Conine, I heard, is out for the season. So rip to his candidacy, but he had been pretty solid, a 118 WRC plus. Yohel Pozo for the Cardinals is a 144 OPS plus. Ramirez, as you mentioned, Mac, 179 WRC plus. So I don't love the pick, but Drake Baldwin, yeah.
We got so spoiled last year in the National League here with players like Skeens, players like Merrill, players like Churio. And this year, we are having trouble to where my pick is also going to be Agustin Ramirez. Again, I'm not knocking Ramirez at all. I want to be very clear about that. I think watching what Ramirez is doing is fantastic. And the fact that he was doing this against, really good pitching too. He has been on a streak that honestly makes me feel like Yoan Moncada, just the power version of Moncada. Like no one saw it coming. And no, sorry, not Yoan Moncada. No, Yermin Mercedes. That's what I was trying to think of. The Yerminator.
Right, yes.
Again, power version of that, because I know Yermin was all about not power, but except for the one that got him, out. But anyway, different story. I think that right now here again, this is so early, and we don't have a whole lot to work with. Unless you're talking about the legends of the game right now that are playing, the Aaron Judges, the Tatises, where you know what you're getting at this point, and they've had the time to prove it. None of the rookies have done that here in the National League yet. None of them have really stood out. And the one that has stood out the most, at least to me, that is still active, because honestly, Griffin Conine was also one I was looking at too. But then when it turned out that he was hurt as well, I'm like, okay, well, that sucks. And then out of the blue, out of the nowhere, out of the ether comes Agustin Ramirez, and he absolutely puts charges into baseballs. Here, I heard it was bad to put dynamite in the water to catch fish, but I mean, he's just puts dynamite into every single one of the pitches that he hits, man. It is beautiful watching him hit. I wasn't even mad with watching him hit against Seattle, because I'm just like, how did he do that? How did he hit that ball? Because he doesn't even do it on like right down the middle pitches. He's doing these on actually well located pitches, like good sinkers low outside.
Yeah, I think the fact that Ramirez did all that, like you said, against some very legit pitchers, I think it's reasonable. Like, maybe this could be like a Michael Harris type situation, or say, I remember in 2005, Ryan Howard didn't come up until July, I'm pretty sure, and he won. Or it was, I know he didn't come up until the summer because he only played 88 games, but he won Rookie of the Year. This is good. I think this could be one of those situations. But yeah, I think Ramirez has a solid case, and I'd say it's kind of like the American League race last year, where there's like a bunch of like decent candidates, but none that really like blow you away. I say we go ahead and roll into everyone's favorite segment of every week. It's time for trivia. Splash, you got it today, so take it away.
Welcome back, boys and girls, to the Alex versus Mac Cup. I'm your host, Splash. Today's trivia is brought to you by my dad, actually. He sent me a stat on Facebook, and I got inspired. So today, your statistical query that I ran, and you have to guess the players, I want you to name the players in MLB history who had more strikeouts in a season than base runners allowed. So, for example, if you strike out 271 batters and you allow 253 base runners, you qualify. To be clear, this list
starting
is
pitchers or relievers.
This is qualified pitchers, 162 innings.
162
so no one
innings,
from 2020. It happens there's no one from 1981, and it happens that it's no one before 1960 outside of the Negro leagues. So the cutoff is MLB history, but it's 162 innings, and there's no one before 1960 on the list. So.
Okay.
But that means as well that we can't have like, oh, you mean 162 career innings?
No, this is for a season.
Oh, and it's like no reliever would be able to be part of this.
I don't believe there's any relievers here. Technically, they could, that's just how it works. But no one on the list, as far as I can tell, is a reliever.
Okay.
All right.
Alex, choose a number between 1 and 50.
24.
All right, Mac.
29.
The answer is 42. Mac, you may go first. We're going to 10. You get points for the number of seasons a player has.
I'm just going to go ahead and guess that this guy did it because he struck out 372 in a season. I'm going with Randy Johnson.
Randy Johnson is correct, and he breaks the scale. He had 9 seasons.
Let's go.
Okay, well, so I just lost. That's cool.
Okay, maybe we need to...
well, we'll see. No, this is fine. This is good for timing on the show. It'll be fine.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Roger Clemens.
Roger Clemens. That would be incorrect. Roger Clemens did not do so. I am saying the same thing. Let me make sure I didn't miss anyone.
I'm like, hold up.
Yeah, Roger Clemens is not a correct answer.
Wow.
Wow is correct.
I'm honestly amazed right now.
Can I have another guess because he has 9? Just to prove I know nothing at this point.
Okay, we're going to give 4.5 points for Randy.
Okay, that's fine. That's reasonable.
Okay.
So
actually, I didn't realize that was possible.
No, give him 5.1. Give him 5.1.
No, I'll just cut it in half. 4.5.
4.5. All right. So wait, am I going now?
Yes.
Max Scherzer.
Max Scherzer did so 7 times. So you are up to a total of you're up to a total of 8 points.
Yeah, all right, 8. That's fine. How's it possible? They do that many times.
7 times from 2013 to 2021.
Oh my god.
Okay. I think I have a guess I'm pretty confident in here.
Okay.
And if this
Alex?
guy has not done it, I'm at least once I'm going to be upset.
Okay.
That's Clayton Kershaw.
Clayton Kershaw 5 times. You're on the board.
Thank you.
There you go.
2.5 points. Okay.
All right.
Mac.
I'm gonna take a wild guess that he did this. Jacob deGrom.
Jacob deGrom 3 times. You're up to 9.5 points. Alex.
Okay.
This is fun.
Jeez. Okay, fair enough. Let's see here. Who are some of the other greatest pitchers that have ever played our great game? Gee, I wonder here. And no, I'm not stalling. What are you talking about?
Jacob Stallings is not correct. Although he
I'm
did
not
strike out
Jacob-
Ronald Acuna once.
Yeah,
that is
exactly.
absolutely fair. Yeah, Anthony Rizzo striking out Freddie Freeman. I know,
Yeah.
great time there. Yeah, you know what? Because I'm pretty sure it happened at least once. I'm gonna go Felix Hernandez.
The King
Just for-
Felix, one time,
Did he?
2014.
Once?
Yep.
2014, you said?
Yep, 2014.
All right, now I have to
right.
start digging deep, I think.
All right, Mac. There are
ooh.
64 available players total, or total
64 available players.
And you, by the way, I want to clarify something really quick. You said none, as I know, Negro League players, right?
Correct. So
Correct.
since 1960, they're
Gotcha.
like Satchel
Okay.
Paige had a bunch, but he didn't
Yeah.
fit the innings requirement.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right, I'm kind of uncertain on this one, but I'm going to go with Zach Greinke.
Zach Greinke did so one time, 2015.
Let's go. Wait, doesn't that
Okay.
give me 10?
Yes, it does give you 10. Alex, feel free to guess more players.
Alex,
Roy
yeah, you can go.
Halladay.
One more time.
Roy
I don't-
Halladay. Just 'cause
That
I
would
want
be
to-
incorrect.
Yeah,
Not
you know,
enough
fair
strikeouts.
enough.
All
I
right.
I lost from the word "go" on this one, Chief.
Well, do you want some of the greatest hits of this?
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
sure.
Okay, so from the good end, Garrett Cole 5 times, Verlander 5 times, Koufax, Martinez, Nolan Ryan, who was the impetus for this, 4 times, Chris Sale, Kurt Schilling 4 times. Now some funny names for the funnies. Chris Archer, yup.
Yo.
Alex, you better stop laughing. Eric Bedard.
Yeah.
Yo.
I'll raise you one. How about Carlos Carrasco? Twice.
Cookie.
Twice. Patrick
What,
Corbin
20
as a
20
Diamondback in 2018.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Yu Darvish 3 times.
Darvish
Jose
makes
Fernandez. Jack Flaherty did it twice. He did it last year, funnily enough.
That's
Logan
actually
Gilbert
crazy.
also did it last year. Doc Gooden did it in 1984. Sonny
That
Gray
makes
did it
sense.
last year, one of his 2 times. Matt Harvey did so. Tim Lincecum did so in 2009. Tristan McKenzie in 2022. Why not? Charlie Morton did it twice. Hideo Nomo did it as a rookie. Bailey Ober did it last year. Oliver Perez did it in 2004. Cole Reagans last year. Johan Santana did it 3 times in a row. Jason Schmidt did it back-to-back years because why not? Tom Seaver, just the one time, 1971. Luis Severino did it, as did Ben freaking Sheets and John Smoltz in
Dude, Sheets
1996.
was nice.
Spencer Strider, our savior, did it in 2023. Javier Vasquez, 2009, underrated pitcher for every team under the sun. Kerry Wood did it in 1998, and Brandon Woodruff will round us out in 2021. That wasn't everyone, but that was just some of the greatest hits. So there, last
Wow.
year, 9 guys did it. Cease, Flaherty, Gilbert, Gray, Ober, Reagan, Sale, Skubal, Wheeler.
That's
I just want to say
mean-
something really quick on this. The fact that we have a list here that is of pitching caliber that includes names such as, Clayton Kershaw, such names as Nolan Ryan, but does not include Roger Clemens and does not
that's
include
crazy to me.
Yeah.
Roy Halladay, but does include Cookie Carrasco and Eric
Twice for Carrasco.
You know-
I shall check Roger Clemens' close season. Because you'd think, right? You'd think he's a guy that struck out 290 batters in a season.
Exactly,
multiple times.
like
But those seasons, it appears. One of the years he struck out 257, he walked 106. So that's not exactly great.
So that's why I wasn't sure about Ryan, because he
Yeah,
walked
it was
so many
only at
batters.
the end of his career, funnily enough. It
Oh,
was
okay,
for the
okay.
last 5 years of his career. So he had just gargantuan strikeout totals. Of course, he has the lowest hits per 9, and he was only had a walks per 9 in the 3.5s. He did so in, I believe, 88, 89, 90, 91. So those are all seasons he had a 10 Ks per 9, hits per 9 of 6.5 or below, and a walks per 9 of 3.7 or below. Earlier in his career, the hits were still really low. but he didn't have quite an 11 K per nine. His highest before 1987 was just 10.6. And of course, he had huge walk rates in those years. So Clemens, I'm also surprised by Clemens. He had a year with 292 strikeouts. He had 204 hits allowed, 68 walks. So that's 272 and 12 hit by pitches. And then there's other like reach on an error, that sort of deal. I believe those would count as base runners for this. So yeah, led the league in whip, but did not qualify. Led the league in strikeouts and whip, didn't qualify for this. So funnily enough. All right,
well,
that's all for the day.
That splash. That's
yes, of course.
I mean, yeah, wow. Shout out to your dad for coming up with that too.
Yeah.
Or sending you that.
So, yeah,
He's a
idea.
big
That's
Nolan
one I
Ryan
hadn't
guy.
thought of.
Yeah, big
It's a
Nolan
cool
Ryan
idea,
guy.
even if it still does make me extremely angry.
Yes.
Well, now we know.
Yes. Now
Anyways,
we know.
we're gonna close out this show the way we do every show, which is with the moment to ourselves. Get 60 seconds or so to talk about whatever the heck is on your mind. It doesn't have to be baseball related or sports related even. So who here wants to go first? Alex, I saw your hand go up first, so you will go first.
Sorry, just give me...
All right, your time starts in 3, 2, 1, begin.
So I'm going to talk about the Mariners. I'm going to talk about Polanco here. But what I want to mostly get into with this is I was confused a little bit ago about how Seattle was doing as well as they are. They're currently number 1 in the AL West, and if the season ended today, they would be the number 2 seed in the American League. Which, okay, that's really cool. But there's something that's been bothering me with it, and that is all the injuries that they have had. You're still without Matt Brash. You're still without George Kirby. You've now lost Santos, Luke Raley, Victor Robles, Ryan Bliss, a litany of other names. So how are you still winning? Well, it's because depth has been a strength that Seattle did not know they had here on this point. Like, let's just go down the line on this, right? In right field, it's like you lost Victor Robles now, so that's meant that you've now had to put Raley out in right field more, and now you've let Rowdy Tellez come in, who's actually done pretty darn well. Polanco was supposed to be your third baseman, but his knees are shot, so that moves him to DH, and now that lets you bring up Ben Williamson, and Ben Williamson has been fantastic so far. Here, Ryan Bliss gets hurt, and so now you have Dylan Moore playing second base, you have Leo Rivas playing second base, you have a bunch of people that can show off what they need at second base. Yeah, and Rosarena's been all right, Julio's been all right, Cal has been on another level overall, and Polanco has just completely flipped the switch from what he had last year. I can only imagine what's going to happen when he can actually face off against lefties here, batting as a righty again. But I'm so confused by this team, but the more you look at it, the more you see that the depth has been tested already, and they have come through with flying colors, not to mention on the starting pitching staff, losing Logan Gilbert, and hopefully for not that long here. George Kirby's still out here, and you've been relying on guys like Luis F. Castillo. You've been relying on Logan Evans, on Emerson Hancock, and they've been doing all right for you. That's what it takes to win a championship, is that even when things are down, when you are down on your players, you got to be able to come up through, and your depth has been able, and has been the reason why Seattle's been at this level that they've been at.
Yeah, and I'm really impressed with the way they've recovered from, like, they kind of got off to a slow start, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And I was a little concerned, I'll be honest, especially about the pitching staff, but even with the injuries, I think across the board, they've done a great job. Really,
the fact that their hitting has gone from being one of the worst in the baseball to one of the best in baseball in a very short amount of time is still baffling to me.
It helps when you have that coaching staff of Kevin Seitzer and Edgar Martinez.
Look, when you put those two together, I'm pretty sure they could make the magic elixir at that point. So,
other than the 2024 Braves.
Oh yeah, no, obvious. Well, the problem is the 2024 Braves didn't have Edgar Martinez.
Yes,
you have to combine the two.
Exactly.
But Seitzer was the hitting coach in 2023 when the Braves
I know.
potentially the great.
I'm aware, but you can't have the polymerization with only one piece of it.
It's so weird.
You can't have bangers and mash with just bangers.
they slugged 500 for a season and have forgotten how to hit the baseball.
That was terrifying. That was a terrifying
That
season.
was a huge L for Alex.
500. I can't.
All right,
man.
Splash. Do you want to go
Sure,
next, or should I?
sure.
Okay, all right. Your time starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Hey, man, the Cleveland Cavaliers are really good at basketball. They won 64 games. They swept the first round of the playoffs. I cautiously optimistic is probably the wrong way to put it because Boston would be favored in the potential East Finals. I'm confident Boston makes it there. I'm a little concerned with Cavs Pacers. The Pacers are going to play at a high pace. Credit where it's due there. So I'd imagine it's going to be a lot of scoring, like probably into the 120s for most of the series. One could argue, I guess, that Halliburton's going to be the best player in the series. I don't think I would make that argument. I would say Donovan Mitchell is, or you could, I guess, argue Evan Mobley is. But I'm excited, and it is a chance for the Cavs to go to their first Eastern Conference Finals without LeBron since the 90s. For context, before LeBron became a Cavalier, the Cavs had 4 lifetime playoff series wins. Yeah. So it's a pretty decrepit franchise outside of the LeBron era, but at least now, like, you have the best team in the league record-wise. You have a team that should make the East Finals. It would be a disappointment if they don't. And it's a core that, to me, is pretty sustainable. A lot of young pieces: Garland, Mitchell, Mobley, just won Defensive Player of the Year as well. Jared Allen, it's not too old. I am worried some of the bench pieces are going to get poached. Ty Jerome is the king of being the best player on the court. I would argue, outside of like Jokic and SGA, there is not a player in basketball who has a higher percentage of minutes play that he is just the best basketball player on the court for no reason. Ty Jerome is just he's like the best. He's like Magic Johnson rolled into like Isaiah Thomas, rolled into like Steph Curry, rolled into LeBron James, rolled into Michael Jordan all at once. He's great at everything. It is sort of inexplicable. He was like plus 88 in 90 minutes or something against Miami, like a top 10 plus minus in the last 20 years in a series. Just, he's outrageously good. He's good at everything, makes the right pass, takes the right shot, rebounds, plays well enough defense for being 6'3", 6'4". So just shout out to the Cavs, man. Haven't talked about them enough this season. Let them know, baby.
Yeah, I'll say that series they had against the Heat was dominant.
They were up by 60 points with 1:30 to go in the fourth quarter.
I'll say this much. I think Cavs Pacers is going to be probably the best series. On the Eastern side, I can't justify either the Knicks or the Pistons beating the Celtics. I think Cavs Pacers could be decently competitive. I think it's going to be like the Cavs are going to win the series, but like the games are going to be closer than we think. So I'll say that much. And the tough thing is, and obviously this is not a basketball podcast, but now that the Lakers are out, I have a hard time justifying anyone beating the Celtics this year. But you got to play the games, I guess. So we shall see. But anyways, all right, I'm up. So can someone count me down?
Absolutely. Your time begins in 3, 2, 1, begin.
Yeah, so I got back from Texas. It was a great experience, really. Racing was great. I won a lifetime best, which is hard to do as a 25-year-old who's out of 4 years removed from college. I had one race where I went my fastest time since college, which I was really encouraged about. It was just a great experience, spending time with my teammates. We had 11 people go. We had 12 go last year, but this year it was mostly a different cast of characters, which I think is great. I got to know some of my teammates that I really didn't know very well. Don't see that often. Some people I had never met before, which is great. We had a great team dinner at one of the Airbnbs, which was awesome. Catered Mexican food. The Mexican food was great. The barbecue was some of the best I've ever had. Shout out to Pinkerton in downtown San Antonio, those pork ribs might be the best pork ribs I've ever eaten. The brisket was great. All around. Most people know this. I love barbecue more than basically any other food in the world. So I'm glad I did get to go. One of my good buddies, Brian, from college, drove over from Austin to come see me, and then drove me over to get lunch at Pinkerton. And I'm really glad we did that. It was good to see an old college friend. So yeah, overall, I can't really complain much about my experience in Texas other than getting the sunburn. So yeah, that was just a really fun weekend, and we're gonna run it back. If not this summer, we're gonna run it back next year in Greensboro, and I bet it's gonna be just as fun.
Yeah, always sounds like a good time at that point here. You're that's one of the best parts about traveling is going and just finding cool places.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I explored the Riverwalk a little bit. If I had more time, I probably would have, I don't know, maybe tried some of the shops and the restaurants out there. But I know that, San Antonio doesn't necessarily have the allure of like Austin in Texas, but it's a decent city.
Especially the women. Word to Charles Barkley.
Charles Barkley, yes. Anyway, that just about does it for us on this episode of Losses Above Replacement. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at LAR_baseball. Follow us on Instagram too. You can follow each of us individually on Twitter. Follow myself at Matthias_A_K. Follow Alex at the Sports Guy 242. Follow Splash at Mr. Splashman 19. Make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube too. Hit that like button. Set up your notifications. Tell your mailman to subscribe. Like our show on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening. Give us a 5-star review. I don't know. Maybe you think someone else is the front runner for MVP. Let us know that.
Please let us know if Dylan Moore is the true AL MVP.
Yeah, maybe you think Demo is leading the AL MVP race. Tell us. But anyways, for all of us at LAR, thank you all for listening. Stay safe, and I hope to see you all real soon. Take care.